Grand Ole Opry legend Stringbean Akeman and his wife were murdered in their home back in 1973.
Do you know that you can live a peaceful life, yet be in the bad book of evildoers? Sounds heartbreaking, right? This could be seen as the uttermost summary of Stringbean Akeman's death. Stringbean and his wife's death were the result of an unexpected event. Join us as we expose who planned and executed Stringbean's elimination regardless of his personality. Stringbean's closest friends could attest to his habit of moving around with numerous amounts of cash. Little did he know that such a free will attitude and lifestyle would one day result in his death. You might feel heartbroken after hearing their story, but it is definitely a call for us to be careful at all times. Keep watching to get the full details. Stringbean's last performance and his death. Stringbean Akeman's second Opry performance of the night occurred at 10:18 p.m. While awaiting his turn on stage, he participated in an interview with freelance writer Stacey Harris, during which he discussed the popularity of Hee Haw and the origins of his nickname, Ace Martin. He recounted that when he first began his radio career in Lexington, Kentucky, he was so unfamiliar to the staff that they referred to him as Stringbean when asking him to perform. This interview was set to be published in the Nashville Banner on November 12, alongside bold headlines regarding the elimination. Akeman and Kirk Gibson later returned to the Ryman stage to perform Going to the Grand Ole Opry to Make Myself a Name and Hot Corn, Cold Corn. After receiving applause, they rehearsed a song for the following week's Opry, titled, Lord, I'm Coming Home. Steve Gibson noted that this was the last song String ever performed, and it was during a rehearsal. The concluding lines of this final song included the significant refrain, coming home, nevermore to roam. Open wide thy arms of love, Lord, I'm coming home. Following this, Stringbean Akeman changed into his bib overalls, which featured a pocket sewn by his wife, where he kept $3,182. He placed his stage attire into a bag that contained various items, including a .22 caliber pistol. He and Estelle Akeman, who had discreetly hidden $2,150 in her bra, entered their new Cadillac and headed north toward Goodlettsville. The car's engine purred softly as they pulled away from the curb, the sleek vehicle gliding smoothly over the asphalt. The night was warm, and the stars twinkled overhead, casting a serene glow on the quiet streets. As they began their journey, Bobby Bare was delivering a heartfelt rendition of Detroit City on the Ryman stage, his voice echoing through the airwaves, filling the car with a sense of nostalgia and longing. The late-night drive spanned roughly 30 minutes, the rhythmic hum of the tires on the road creating a soothing backdrop to their conversation. They shared stories and laughter, the tension of the day melting away with each passing mile. As they turned left into their winding driveway off Baker Station Road, they heard Sam McGee performing Worry, Worry Blues on the Opry, his soulful voice resonating with the struggles of life, a perfect soundtrack for their late-night escapade. In the moments that followed, the radio crackled with the familiar sounds of country music. Billy Kramer would soon sing What a Friend, his warm tones wrapping around them like a comforting embrace, reminding them of the bonds they shared. The melody lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of the friendships that had shaped their lives. This was followed by the unmistakable voice of Marty Robbins with I Walk Alone, a haunting ballad that spoke of solitude and reflection, echoing the quiet of the night as they approached their destination. As they neared the end of their journey, the headlights of the Cadillac illuminated their porch, casting long shadows that danced in the light. It was then that they would unknowingly cross paths with fate. Stringbean Akeman and his wife, blissfully unaware of the impending tragedy, were just moments away from a fateful encounter. The warmth of the evening was about to be shattered, the music fading into the background as the world around them shifted in an instant. The headlights of the Cadillac, once a beacon of hope and new beginnings, now illuminated a scene that would forever alter the course of their lives. Stringbean sensed something was amiss. He retrieved his long rifle firearm from his bag and likely instructed his wife to remain in the vehicle. He approached his front door alone, unaware that 23-year-old cousins John Brown, with a stocking mask, and Douglas Brown, donning a Halloween mask, were lying in wait. According to Douglas Brown's testimony in court, Stringbean hesitated for several moments upon opening the door, possibly absorbing the chaotic scene within, as the Brown cousins had ransacked the cabin in search of money that ultimately eluded them. They concluded that if the money was not located at the residence, it must be with Stringbean Akeman, since he is known for having cash. The cousins had been piecing together the clues for days, and the more they thought about it, the more convinced they became. They had heard rumors about Stringbean's tendency to display wealth ostentatiously, flaunting his riches in a way that made him a target for envy and greed. His extravagant lifestyle, filled with lavish parties and expensive possessions, painted a clear picture in their minds. If the money was anywhere, it was likely in his possession. So they decided to wait for his return, hoping to catch him off guard and seize the opportunity. When Stringbean finally arrived, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. He was brandishing a firearm in his outstretched right hand, a menacing sight that sent a chill down the spines of the cousins. The tension in the air was palpable as he stepped into the dim light of the cabin. Upon noticing Douglas Brown to his right, he opened fire without hesitation, the crack of the firearm echoing through the night. The sudden violence was shocking, and in that moment, everything changed. Had he not been armed, it is conceivable that the cousins would not have resorted to eliminating him. Their intentions had never been to take a life, but rather to commit robbery and escape with the money they believed he possessed. However, both cousins were equipped with weapons of their own, a fact that would soon prove disastrous. They had discovered firearms at the cabin, remnants of a previous owner's hunting trips, while John Brown wielded a pistol, a weapon he had brought along for protection. In the chaos that ensued, it was this very pistol that John ultimately used to fatally open fire at Stringbean Akeman. The lanky opera singer, known for his towering height and flamboyant personality, collapsed with his arms extended near the fireplace, a tragic figure in the flickering light. The both of them, having approached the house with a misguided sense of bravado, were now gripped by panic. As the reality of their actions set in, they fled towards Baker Station Road, their hearts racing with fear and regret. The moment Estelle witnessed the people that eliminated her husband, a chilling wave of horror washed over her, and she let out a piercing scream that echoed through the dimly lit alley. She pleaded for her life, but unfortunately John Brown fatally fired her in the back of the head, leaving her crumpled in the grass, a tragic sight that would haunt the memories of those who stumbled upon it. The Browns, driven by a desperate urgency, conducted a hasty search of the bodies, their movements frantic and uncoordinated. In their rush, they overlooked the substantial sums of money that the Akemans had concealed in their pockets and undergarments, a small fortune that could have changed their lives. However, amidst the chaos, they did manage to retrieve $250 from the front pocket of Stringbean Akeman's overalls, a meager prize compared to what lay hidden. In addition to the cash, they took the performer's bags, his wife's purse, and several firearms, stripping the scene of any remnants of the lives that had just been extinguished. With their ill-gotten gains in hand, they departed in the station wagon that the Akemans had used for personal travel, leaving behind a scene of devastation and loss. The following morning, before the sun had fully risen, and while the world was still cloaked in the chill of early November, Grandpa Jones gathered his hunting equipment, a routine that now felt heavy with foreboding. He drove the 2 miles to the Akemans' cabin, his heart pounding with an unshakable sense of dread. As he crested a hill on that chilly morning, he observed that no smoke was rising from the cabin's chimney, an unusual sight that sent a shiver down his spine. Upon arriving at the house, the reality of the situation hit him like a cold wave. He discovered Estelle Akeman's body next to a hickory tree, a sight that shattered his heart and left him reeling in disbelief. In a state of disoriented shock, he approached the house, his mind racing with questions and fears. He noticed Stringbean Akeman's banjo case on the front porch, a haunting reminder of the joy that had once filled this place. With a heavy heart, he entered the cabin, only to find Stringbean's body lying on the floor, lifeless and still. The cabin, once a sanctuary of music and laughter, now stood as a grim sight to the heartbreaking event that had unfolded, leaving Grandpa Jones to grapple with the profound loss and the chilling reality of what had transpired. In front of the frigid fireplace, the telephone line had been severed, prompting Jones to hastily return to his residence, where he informed his wife of the incident and contacted the authorities. Subsequently, Grandpa and Ramon Jones revisited the crime scene. Ramon observed the white frost on Estelle Akeman Stark and noted that Stringbean's radio was playing, tuned to WSM. The Brown boys had listened to the Grand Ole Opry while awaiting the banjo player. For a year, I could hardly discuss it, Ramon Jones reflected. It was a devastating and sorrowful period, a challenging time. I don't believe one ever truly recovers from such an event. Our lives were irrevocably altered following that loss of innocence. The once tranquil farm soon became a hive of activity as investigators, media personnel, neighbors, and friends from the Opry arrived to assess, console, and make sense of the situation. They were our closest friends and we cherished them dearly, Grandpa Jones expressed to Nashville Banner reporter Bill Hance. Stringbean Akeman would have abhorred the ensuing noise and attention, as television and radio stations, along with both daily newspapers in Nashville, provided extensive coverage of the search for the perpetrators. For you to get a deeper understanding of the reasons behind this elimination, let's take a look at Stringbean's life. With this, you'll realize how much he influenced everyone with his talented yet peaceful lifestyle. Meet Stringbean Akeman. To his admirers, Stringbean Akeman appeared amiable, lanky, and somewhat eccentric, a sentiment echoed by his friends. He performed songs like "I'm the Man That Rode the Mule Around the World" and "How Many Biscuits Can You Eat?", often donning oversized shirts tucked into snug trousers belted just above the knees. Little Jimmy Dickens gifted him his first pair of such distinctive pants. Stringbean utilized apple cider vinegar as a shaving lotion and rubbing alcohol as a deodorant. He adopted a phrase from Jackie Gleason, "How sweet it is," as his signature line, justifying its use by stating that if it was suitable for Gleason, it was equally fitting for him, despite the fact that many of his fans were unfamiliar with Gleason's work. He engaged in the pursuit of hunting and consuming pigs, a practice that he embraced wholeheartedly, while making a conscious effort to steer clear of any products associated with cows. This meant that he avoided not only beef, but also dairy products, adhering to a personal dietary choice that reflected his values and preferences. To supplement his income, he took to foraging for wild ginseng, a valuable herb that he skillfully harvested from the woods. He would then sell this prized find to Chinese buyers, who were known to pay handsomely for high-quality ginseng. It was widely known among his acquaintances that he had a penchant for storing significant amounts of cash, particularly in the form of crisp $100 bills, which he kept tucked away within the pockets of his overalls. This unique habit became a point of interest and conversation among his friends, as he often showcased his cash stash, much to their amusement and curiosity. One of those who took note of this was the veteran musician Lester Armistead, who not only shared a friendship with Stringbean Akeman but also lived nearby. Akeman found immense joy in his life as a musician, earning a livelihood through his exceptional banjo playing. His passion for music was evident in every note he played, and he relished the opportunity to share his talent with others. Living on a farm, he embraced a lifestyle that allowed him to engage in various activities that brought him happiness, from tending to the land to enjoying the simple pleasures of rural life. His days were filled with the sounds of nature and the melodies of his banjo, creating a harmonious balance between work and play that defined his existence. He referred to his instrument as the five, indicating the five-string banjo. When inquired about medical insurance, he would respond, "Nah, just me and the five." Don Light, who arranged Akeman's performances at colleges and festivals, remarked on his unique character. On one occasion, while some performers from the Grand Ole Opry were attempting to persuade him to sign a petition regarding inadequate pay for Opry artists, he was waiting in an alley outside the Ryman Auditorium for Estelle to bring the Cadillac. As she arrived and opened the trunk, he told the group, "Boys, all I can tell you is when I got here I was a-walking," before getting into the passenger seat and heading to Goodlettsville. Keep watching as we take a look at his life with his wife, since they were eliminated together, and how their relationship with the Jones deeply affected them. The Akemans' peaceful lives. Akeman married Estelle Stanfill, a native of Murray County, in 1945, the same year he departed from Bill Monroe's band. Their closest friends included fellow banjo player Grandpa Jones and his wife, fiddler and singer Ramona Jones. Akeman and Estelle were characterized by their gentle nature, as noted by Ramona Jones, who described them as sweet, kind-hearted people with a profound appreciation for the natural world. They dedicated a significant portion of their leisure time to fishing in a nearby creek. In 1955, they jointly acquired a farm, residing in a white house situated nearer to Baker Road, while Stringbean and Estelle occupied a modest cabin located just behind their residence. The latter couple opted for the smaller dwelling, reasoning that it was more suitable given that they had children, whereas they did not. By the late 1950s, the Jones family relocated to the Washington, D.C. area, allowing the Akemans to take over the White House, although they continued to inhabit the cabin. Within a year, the Joneses returned to Middle Tennessee, purchasing a home down the road from their former farm. In an interview conducted on November 17, 1973, for a WSM-AM radio special hosted by Al Vokes, Grandpa Jones remarked on the Akemans, stating that they were among the happiest couples he had ever encountered, suggesting a remarkable compatibility between them. Bluegrass Hall of Famer Mac Wiseman also shared a close relationship with the Akemans, recalling moments spent in their cabin, similar to the camaraderie found among family. He reminisced about sitting on the porch, his feet dangling above the ground, and traveling together to various performances. Wiseman noted that while Stringbean donned humorous attire on stage, he always presented himself well in the car, typically wearing a sports coat and tailored trousers. Wiseman vividly remembered those trousers, which complemented Stringbean's long legs. Interestingly, Stringbean and Estelle often engaged in squirrel hunting, resulting in an abundance of squirrels that eventually led to a sense of fatigue from consuming them. Opera star George Morgan did not engage in hunting activities and instead exchanged string clothes for squirrels on the evening of Stringbean Akeman's final Opry performance. During this event, he performed Y'all Come and Hillbilly Fever. Following the show, he, along with Estelle and the Jones family, Grandpa Ramon and the children Mark and Elisa, spent some time backstage discussing their plans for the upcoming week. Stringbean and Grandpa were scheduled to embark on a week-long hunting trip to Virginia, prompting their wives to organize a special dinner for Tuesday evening. String's strong aversion to red meat made this gathering particularly significant for Estelle Akeman, as it provided her with a rare opportunity to enjoy a steak. You might be wondering what happened after the death of these peaceful souls. Just stay tuned as we explore the outcome of their death. The aftermath of the Akeman's death. Country music artists began to reconsider their security measures, with many expressing discomfort over the previously open access they had granted to fans. This shift in perspective was catalyzed by the tragic event a week later, when musician Jimmy Widener, known for his role as Hank Snow's rhythm guitarist at the Grand Ole Opry, was brutally robbed, beaten, and ultimately fired to death in a Nashville alley. This incident shattered any illusions that the country music community was insulated from violence and tragedy. Consequently, country stars found themselves in need of enhanced security measures, far exceeding the simple protection of a firearm tucked away in a worn bag. Activities that were once commonplace for these musicians, such as residing in unsecured neighborhoods or socializing with fans at venues like Tootsie's, now appeared perilous. The Nashville music scene had previously endured tragedies, including the 1963 plane crash that claimed the lives of Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and Randy Hughes, as well as the reckless demise of Hank Williams in 1953 due to substance abuse. However, it was not until 1973 that the industry faced the grim reality of elimination, an event that was further amplified by an extensive and sensational media campaign. As the investigation and trial unfolded, Stringbean Akeman had already recorded a year's worth of Hee Haw episodes, allowing him to maintain his status as a contemporary television star, even as prosecutors pursued those that ended his life. A talented banjo player, his musical abilities were remarkable, and honestly, people in this present generation would have cherished the opportunity to hear him sing. Regrettably, Roy Troy, an old-time banjo player who began his career on Hee Haw, was also affected by Stringbean's untimely death. Over the past 4 decades, Nashville has undergone significant expansion and transformation, evolving into a metropolis that Stringbean and Estelle Akeman would hardly recognize. Their modest cabin has changed hands, yet the property that Mac Wiseman once referred to as a hallowed place remains identifiable. This year, musicians Brian and Tiffany Buchanan purchased the cabin, relocating from East Nashville due to concerns about rising crime in their former neighborhood. They now reside in the most legendary crime scene of country music, cooking in the kitchen where Douglas Brown once hid as Stringbean Akeman opened the door 4 decades ago. On the mantel above the fireplace, they have displayed memorabilia belonging to Stringbean, including an album cover featuring him seated in front of that very fireplace. The couple often explores Baker Station Cave, which is accessible from their backyard, a place where Stringbean used to hang hams. In a twist of fate, Brian Buchanan does not drive, so Tiffany Buchanan takes him to work in Nashville. In 2003, Douglas Brown, one of the key figures implicated in the tragic elimination of Stringbean and Estelle Akeman, passed away, marking the end of his life sentence. This event closed a chapter in a case that had captured the attention of the public and the media alike. John Brown, who was responsible for firing the weapon that led to Stringbean's death, is now 60 years old. His journey through the justice system has been chaotic. The Tennessee Board of Probation and Parole has denied his requests for release on 4 separate occasions. Each time, friends and supporters of the Akeman family, many of whom are connected to the Grand Ole Opry, have attended the hearings to express their strong opposition to his potential release, emphasizing the lasting impact of the Akeman's death on the community. Despite the resistance from the Akeman family's supporters, John Brown was granted parole in November 2014. a decision that sparked renewed outrage and concern among those who remember the couple and the violent circumstances of their deaths. The case has remained a topic of discussion and speculation over the years, particularly due to some sensational claims that emerged in the 1990s. Reports surfaced suggesting that $20,000 in severely damaged and unusable cash had been discovered hidden behind a chimney brick in the Akeman's cabin. However, this assertion has been met with skepticism by neighbors and researchers who question the authenticity and significance of such a find. In the aftermath of the Akeman's death, law enforcement took decisive action by transforming their cabin into a command center for the ongoing investigation. Officers meticulously combed through every corner of the premises, searching for evidence that could lead to the apprehension of those responsible for the heinous crime. The investigation was thorough and exhaustive, reflecting the community's desire for justice and closure in the wake of such a devastating loss. The Akemans, beloved figures in their community, left behind a legacy that continues to resonate, as their story remains a significant reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring quest for justice. Stringbean and Estelle influence on people around them. In 1974, guitarist Kurt Gibson joined Hank Snow's band, stepping in for the late Jimmy Widener, who had been tragically eliminated. This unfortunate event led Gibson to lose one opportunity while simultaneously gaining another with Snow. Gibson performed at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, as well as at Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison, where the concerts were met with positive reception. Other artists were also engaging in similar performances. During one of these events, a member of the Brown Boys was tasked with transporting sound equipment. Upon learning of this, Steve Gibson recalled that his father had previously worked with Stringbean and considered him a close friend. He conveyed that Stringbean was a man of great forgiveness, and if he could impart any message, it would be a call to do good for others. Subsequently, when Hank Snow discovered that the Brown Boys were present in the audience, he refused to proceed with the performance. On the 40th anniversary of the tragic events, Stringbean and Estelle Akeman were commemorated for their inherent kindness and unique characteristics. While their final moments were unsettling, it is not these instances that truly encapsulate their legacy. The tragic deaths of Stringbean and Estelle were not merely the result of random violence. They were the culmination of avarice and malice perpetrated by desperate individuals whose actions starkly contrasted with the lives of their victims. Stringbean, a beloved figure in the country music scene, and his wife Estelle epitomized a sense of contentment that is often elusive in today's fast-paced world. They lived secure and untroubled lives, finding joy in the simple pleasures that life had to offer. As Buck Owens, Stringbean's co-star on the iconic television show Hee Haw, significantly remarked in 1973, Stringbean was a man at peace with himself and the world around him. This inner tranquility was reflected in their lifestyle, which was characterized by a deep appreciation for their surroundings and the relationships they nurtured. The people that ended their lives, however, marked a tragic turning point, contributing to the emergence of a Nashville environment that would have been utterly foreign to the peaceful existence they had cultivated. In a world increasingly driven by greed and competition, Stringbean and Estelle stood out as individuals who prioritized harmony and contentment over material wealth. They were not merely products of their time. They were unique souls whose qualities may never be replicated in the same way again. Their legacy serves as a reminder of a bygone era, one where community and connection held greater significance than the relentless pursuit of success. While it is possible that Stringbean and Estelle now rest in peace, it is certain that they lived harmoniously with what they had during their time on Earth. Their lives were a proof to the beauty of simplicity and the power of love, and their untimely deaths serve as a somber reflection on the darker aspects of human nature. In remembering them, we are reminded of the importance of cherishing the moments of joy and contentment that life offers, even in the face of adversity. Their story is not just one of tragedy, but also one of the enduring spirit of those who choose to live with grace and gratitude, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who knew them. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.